Now what?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
You want to build a computer?
We always build computers. We need to do something different.
I have an idea. What if we build the best computer, like if we use the best AMD processor on the market for consumers? What if we did instead of just building any other computer, what if we built the
Top of the line. The best of the best?
yeah, sort of like money's no object, but it's still got to be consumer based, not a workstation, not like Threadripper. It's got to be we put some RGB in there just to be stupid.
Okay.
You want to do that? It's something to do.
It's Wednesday, it's hump day. I say we do it.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's
Roll the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is CareyHolzman. This here is the man, the myth, the legend. He's full of Mitch. This is Mitchell, the man, Morrison. Related to Van Morrison?
Yes, with my short hair and no glasses, folks.
This is Mitch's twin, Rich.
Yeah, Rich.
Who's broke.
Yeah.
Don't let the name fool you.
Yeah.
So today, we're putting together an AMD 3950X CPU. It looks kind of like... Here, Vanna White.
Ooh.
You gotta... Ooh. This is the AMD Ryzen 3950X. It's really not a whole lot more than a 3900X, except it's cost 50% more. 3900X is $500. This is $750. Woo. So it's 50% more, and you get about 10 or 15% more power. So it's not exactly the best bargain, but if you want the best on the consumer side from AMD, that's it. We are going to use the first PCI Express 4.0 drive entered into the market. Generally speaking, you never want to be the first. It won't be the best, it won't be the fastest, and it won't be the cheapest, but you'll be the first. So being the first, there's the Corsair 4 Series MP600. This is a PCI Express Generation 4, first of its kind, 2 terabytes, about $410. And it has a built-in heatsink, so that must tell you something there. And beyond that, it should read and write about 5,000 megabytes a second.
What's the retail price on that?
$410.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, if you want a good deal, this cooler from Silverstone, I know it's going to sound like an ad. This is an ARGB, an addressable RGB, 240 millimeter liquid cooler. How much do you think that sells for? Do you know what 240 millimeter liquid coolers go for without RGB?
150?
Maybe 115.
Okay.
This is $99 from Silverstone. So for the motherboard, we've got a Gigabyte X570 Aorus Elite. It comes with all that. Yeah, you can pause this, by the way, if you need to see and read. What are we going to use for RAM? For RAM, we're going to fill up all the RAM sockets with G.SKILL Trident Z Royal. Now, let's take a look at Mitch's face, because he's never seen this before.
Look at that packaging.
It's like I just got you a bracelet.
Yeah, very snuffy. All right.
This is what you get a nerd for Valentine's Day. Dun, dun, dun. It opens like this. I'm trying to show you and Mitch.
Yeah. Ooh.
Here's your Go Faster sticker. Just take that out. This is a microfiber cloth.
Oh,
right?
I'm impressed.
Stupid.
Yeah.
It's mirror finished with what looks like little crystals. It's just a solid piece of plastic that diffuses the RGB light, so it doesn't, it's not real harsh. And it's completely addressable as well. So we're going to fill up all memory banks.
Show me that again. Yeah.
You need to check your... Okay. Is that good?
Beautiful.
Oh, you cracked it. All right.
Very
So
nice.
we're going to use 2 of these.
So those are 8 gig sticks.
16.
16 sticks.
We'll have a total of 64 gigs in the system when we're done. Be Quiet has sent us the case. So my thanks to the folks over at Be Quiet for sending me the case to evaluate it. Here's the thing. All of this stuff is fantastic, but it needs a graphics card. So I opened up the wallet and blew the dust out of there and forked out $800 for this. An EVGA GeForce RTX 2080 Super Black Edition. And that is today's build. This is the motherboard. Now you'll see we've got a heatsink right here that says X570 OSLE. We obviously cannot put that on. With the SSD we're using, it's got its own built-in heatsink. So this piece right here will be left off and will go in the motherboard box. The I/O shield is built onto the board. I really like that. We have lots and lots of USB on the back, along with an HDMI out, which we're not going to use because we've got discrete graphics and then our sound ports. It's a pretty straightforward build. And if I really wanted to, we can check the manual. I could put the SSD down here if that slot supports it. Then I don't have to lose the look of the board with that. What we want to look for in the manual, I can jump to it fairly quickly. Storage interface, 1 PCIe M.2. M.2 connector supports PCIe 4 by 4 or by 2. And the other one supports by 4 or by 2. Both slots appear to be exactly equal. If that's the case, I want to move that SSD down there. What if we do that first? Okay, let's see what's in there.
Cut away from, always cut away.
Boy Scouts.
Oh, yeah.
Twenty minutes later. It'll install a lot easier
Yeah,
than it
that's
comes
why.
out
Oh,
of the
there
box.
we go. Ooh.
Oh, I don't even use any static bag or anything. Look at that.
Ooh.
All right. Rip that sucker out of there. Is there any documentation?
No dice.
Well, that's good. I wasn't looking for any dice.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we want to install that down into this position. However, this will have to be moved first. That screw. And it should stay magnetized to the driver.
The keyword there is shit. Okay.
Yes, that is
Ooh,
definitely the
there-
keyword. And just set that down. Now we want to unscrew this piece, which will require another Phillips screwdriver. And just give it a twist until it loosens. And you should be able to take it out with your fingers now and move it to the number 80 hole right there.
And just finger tight, right? Is all
Yeah, we'll
you
tighten it with the screwdriver. Snug that bad boy up.
Yep.
A little tighter.
I can't see it. All right, let's see.
You want to borrow Uncle Carey's glasses?
Yeah. Here, wait. A little tighter. Yeah, that's tight.
Good, perfect. Now, insert the Corsair MP600 into the slot with the heatsink facing up.
Can they see the notch? Yeah. Yeah, see the notch. And then you can't see it here, but I see it. It's right there, yeah. So we're gonna,
Nice and slow.
on an angle,
On an angle.
too much Coke for lunch. All right, let's see here.
Kind of wiggle it while you push it. What does that feel? Feel like it's in there? Mm-hmm. And then secure it down with the screw that remains on the end of the black screwdriver.
Just tighten it just enough.
There it is.
And there it is. Here we go.
Ooh. Look at how that opens up.
Here's the Go Faster sticker, folks, right here.
So just so you're aware, The 3900X is $250 less and comes with an RGB Wraith cooler. So you can pay $250 more without the cooler in a smaller box for a chip that runs about 15% faster. If that doesn't make you love AMD, I don't know what will. Thank you, Mitch. That's all that's in the box? What else is in there?
Let's see.
That's it? So why is that package so big? Is it solid? Oh, it's totally worth it. I'm going to save that and use it for nothing later.
Now, the first thing we got to do is lift the arm, correct?
Yes, sir.
Hold your hand here. Don't apply much pressure, and just give it a lift up. Beautiful, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with very steady hands,
That's my shooting hand.
yeah,
The gold, oh, was it a dot?
triangle right there.
I can't really see it.
They
Maybe
can-
I can,
They can, yeah.
wait, kind of angle it a little different.
I can see it. They can
Okay.
see it, yeah.
And then somewhere on the board should be another triangle. Somewhere on the board.
Yeah. Does it look
Or on
like-
the socket. Boy, they're not very helpful with this, are they? On an Intel system, we don't want all the text to face the same
Right.
way, right? So,
Right.
so if I stood over here and looked at the motherboard from this direction, I can see all these words facing me. So my instinct would be to have the Ryzen words. But if you look closely on the socket, do you see these little, they're like little blocks. Do you see them?
Yep.
You see on the video? Look on the screen. You can see them.
Mm-hmm.
Now turn the CPU upside down, where those little squares are.
Yeah. Can
So we know it's going to go in one of two ways.
Yeah.
We know that those have to line up.
Yeah. Can we switch here? I'm getting very
You're getting nervous? Oh, I can see the gold triangle a lot better on the bottom.
Oh.
That makes a whole lot of
Oh,
sense
yeah.
because that's the part you're going to be looking at, not.
Yeah.
Thanks, AMD. Really thought that one through. Maybe the gold triangle's on the back side of the motherboard.
Yeah.
Well, the Ryzen words have to either go, in order for those little notches to line up with these notches, it has to go this way, or it has to go this way. It will not line up with the text like an Intel system does. So that does add a little bit of confusion. So I think the gold triangle's right there. And is that where you pointed? No.
You better get your glasses too, because I for the life of me, I can't see it.
No,
And
I don't.
Usually
I
it's,
don't need glasses,
Okay.
and I will tell you why. We know that those two notches, there's four little nubs, have to line up with these four little holes. So we know it's going to go on. That's fine. You can rest on it. It's either going to go on this way or the other way. So if I just lay it gently on the socket, it will either sit down or it won't. I'm not going to push it down.
No, right.
Do you see how it just sat down all by itself? If I turn this 180 degrees to the other potential, because it was a 50-50 guess. What if I had tried this way first, and I just gently set it on there, and I just move it around and see if it'll line up?
it didn't line up.
Won't, it won't sink.
line up.
It won't
Right.
sit.
It won't seat. Yeah.
Can you zoom that in so people can see that? What I'm doing to align this, I'm just gently resting it and just kind of moving it around, seeing if it will fall.
It's not seated. Yeah.
So if I turn it 180 degrees and I do the exact same thing, and I just rest it on top,
Yeah.
gently. Oh, did you see
yeah.
there how it's seated?
Yeah. Seated.
And then we just move this down, and we've installed it. We're going to get this motherboard prepped for the cooler. Go ahead, Mitch. You can crack that open. What you got?
All right. Let's see here. This obviously is the radiator. What have we got here? There you go. Radiator in here.
You can leave that in the box. We're not going to need
Okay.
it.
For now.
Or don't leave it in the box. That's fine.
And what else? Yeah, or what else have we got here? We got brackets. We've got lighting cables. The RGB, and of course, our two fans. And Uncle Carey's favorite. All right.
Silica gel.
Okay.
Kind of hungry.
No documentation? There's usually nothing under there?
No, this is one of the issues we had, if you recall.
Yeah, let's take a little look-see. No, there's nothing.
Go ahead and put this back in the box for me, because I don't want to knock it over.
Okay, we'll see here. Of course, everybody knows we got thermal compound there.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a...
That's a switch for the lighting controls.
Switch for the lighting. We've got...
the screws and standoffs. The AMD bracket.
What's in here? That's the standoffs, or...
Yeah.
We got the back plate, of course.
Yes.
Obviously is that for the fan? Of course, the two fans.
Yep, fan splitter. We're not going to use this. This is if you wanted the fans to run full power at all times. We won't use it. We're not going to use this for now. We'll take that. We'll let the motherboard control it. And we won't need this for a little while. This can go on top of the box. Yeah. We will need this. I think we need this. I haven't done this on AMD before. You definitely need these. I think this is for socket 2011. Yeah, let's put this bag here. I think is socket 2011. I could be mistaken, but let's put that away. I think this is ultimately all we need right there. These have to be towards the inside. See how that can be this way or this way? You want it towards the inside. But it's just going to spin freely until we're ready to install it. But that's the way we're going to go with it. And I'll just kind of snug them up a little bit. I'm probably going to have to loosen those. But that's the first piece. Okay. Now, stay there. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to look back at the video and see what they do next. Okay, next, the water block in here has a frame around it. And this is going to replace the frame. So I'm going to temporarily take all this stuff off. So if you take a look in the box. So I had you put this away for nothing. I'll take this off. This bracket should come off. You see these pipes? This bracket should come off like this.
Beautiful.
Right? You see that? That's an Intel bracket. This one will go on with the screws. Remember the top of the pump? We have to be able to screw this down. So it'll go with the open end going towards the pipes. You getting this?
Indubitably.
Indubitably. And then it should just lock in.
Isn't that amazing?
Right? And then that should be as easy as applying thermal compound.
And locking that.
And then we can either install it this way, or it'll probably go in this, yeah. Oh, it's going to twist the pipes. Look at that. So it either has to go in like this, or like that. Looks like that's how it's going to go in later. So that's super easy, and that means now we don't have to do anything else with the motherboard with regards to prepping this. And so what I want to do in order to prevent more confusion is I'm going to grab a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to take these extra pieces. I can't get over how easy that is. So we're going to take all of this. This is Intel only brackets and spacers, and that's all going to go in this Ziploc bag. In case we should ever want to repurpose this for an Intel system, we will still need these to secure the radiator to the case. We will still need these to secure the fans to the radiator, and we'll still need the thermal compound. And then the rest is wiring. Doesn't that make you feel like a monkey's uncle after all the work you and I went through on that Intel? Suddenly now AMD's like a world easier on the install. So, that's news to me. It's a brand new process. Well done from Silverstone. That's maybe why they didn't include instructions. It's like, what do you need instructions for? It's pretty darn simple. Agreed. How about we slap some RAM in this thing? Yeah? You want to do that? All right. This is G.SKILL's ridiculous, over-the-top, unnecessary, and stupid Trident Z Royal Go Faster sticker. Do you know why it comes with this microfiber cloth? Do you know why, Mitch?
Yeah, because they're mirrors.
Fingerprint magnets. Now, I don't know what... Stop fingering your RAM, first of all.
Okay.
Once this is installed, no one should even be able to see it because they're getting bumped up against each other. So I don't get it. There's a little plastic on here. See that? Yeah, see? Probably on the other side, I betcha. I hear it. Ah, there it is. Ooh. Happy Valentine's Day, Mitch.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to open this up. I want to fill all these sockets. Load them up. What do you think of that? How you like me now?
Very nice.
Look there. We're going to repeat this again. Now, in theory, all of this RAM should be identical. However, it is tested in pairs, and because it is tested that way, I want to install it into the same channel. That means I have to skip a slot. It'll probably work if I don't, and it'll be easier to film if I don't. And I also should have turned the board around so that you can watch better. So let's just turn the board this way, and I will work blindly like an idiot. And so I'm going to skip this slot because I know these two RAM modules are a matched pair. And I will line it up, and then I will push down one corner and the other corner. Okay, and that's it for that box, and I'll put this in there and get that out of the way. And we're going to repeat this. I'm going to go right down this socket here. Don't use any brute force. It will gently slide into place, and then using my thumbs, I'll push down one corner and then the other corner. That one didn't sound good, so I'm going to take it out. I'm going to do it again. I should hear a click. That side doesn't want to click. I hope I'm getting it in there okay. And then we just have one more right here. How's it looking there, Mitch?
Beautiful.
Oh man, I'm doing all this fancy work. You're not even looking at me.
There you go.
You want to buy me. Completely unnecessary waste of money. Buy me. Give me your money. Sorry, there's a little marketing going on there. Please don't pay attention to that. Let's bring this down here and one corner, other corner. And I will just press down one more time on the rest. Make sure all these are in the up. Ooh, that one was not seated well. I want to take it out and reseat it. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. That's it. That's all she wrote. 16, 32, 48, 64 gigs of RAM. The board will support up to 128 gigs of RAM, but trying to find modules that are 32 gigs apiece, a little bit difficult. In the future, probably going to be a lot easier. We'll look back and go, remember when Carey said 32 gig modules were hard to find? 640K ought to be enough for anybody.
What do you think next? Maybe power supply before you put in the motherboard, or what are your thoughts? Could do that, power supply.
Well, I know we got to get the covers off.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that?
Okay.
You want to do it?
Yeah, get this glass off. Does that take a... Takes a big Phillips.
Does it? Or can you just take your fingers?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's glass. It shouldn't be in there very tight.
Yeah.
Should be able to just grab that and unscrew it. Just don't let the glass fall when you take that last screw out.
Oh, then...
Yeah, take the bottom one out
first.
first for that reason. And that's what these look like, folks. Now, the glass has some plastic on it, so it doesn't look as pretty as it will when we remove that. And it's there to protect it from any scratches or scuffs in shipping. When you take this glass off, it's sort of like the glass in your refrigerator. It's tempered, so it can withstand quite a bit of knocking about, but don't tempt fate. So we do want to handle it with care because we don't want to scratch it. And it's just going to rest in rubber grommets. Be careful, these little rubber grommets can fall off too, so keep an eye on those. I'm going to go put this in my back office so we don't knock it over by mistake. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to put these 4 little standoffs in the motherboard box, or not standoffs, the screws for this glass, because we're going to put those on last. So we need them out of the way, and for like it'll be a while.
And this side, of course.
Yeah, and those screws are going to be captured. In other words, those screws are going to stay attached to the case cover, which I really like a lot.
Lefty loosey?
Yes. I'm saving this for some extraordinary build.
This is a pretty extraordinary build. I mean,
This is about as extraordinary as it's going to get, and even 700 watts is way more than we need. Like if we had 2 graphics cards that were 2080 Ti's,
right.
this is what you want. So yeah, let's open it up. I've had it sitting on a shelf over a year. I might as well use it. It's not like it's worth more money. Look at the dust on it. I'm so proud of that. Didn't you love living in Arizona? I'm going to just go ahead and set this in. It installs like any other power supply. It's quite a bit longer. For your reference at home watching, a regular power supply probably is about that length right there. So this is extended in order to have all of the electronics in there to produce up to 1,000 watts. Now, it's sort of like having a 1,000 horsepower car. This will provide up to that much. It doesn't mean it's going to use that much. If you have a 1,000 horsepower car, it doesn't mean every time you get in it, you have to drive 200 miles an hour, right? You can use up to 1,000 horsepower on a car that can provide it. And power output's no different. But you start losing your power efficiency rating. Like if we're only going to draw 200 watts out of this, it's not going to be very power efficient. It'll do it, but not efficiently.
And Carey has the screwdriver on a clutch.
I do. It'll shut off on the 3 setting, which is pretty low.
Yeah.
And these little tiny screws are all that holds that big, heavy power supply. So I'd like to make sure they're pretty tight. I would be very nervous about shipping this without a shroud.
Yeah.
Because if these little screws break free,
and
right?
I'm telling you, folks, that thing weighed at least 10 pounds.
And
I'm
those
guessing
little
12
screws are
pounds.
all that holds that in. If that breaks free in shipping, it's going to destroy the whole inside of the computer. So if I had a shroud on this,
right.
You know, it's funny. All I did was bitch about the shroud. And now I'm wishing I had one, because if I had one, I'd use the other power supply. And if I had one, I wouldn't have anxiety about shipping this and having those screws break off. So for that reason, I am going to tighten these screws down a little bit more than standard, because I don't want them to vibrate loose. If you over tighten, you can shear the head of the screw off. So you really want to find that middle part. So that's about the only piece I put a little more muscle into. And I have seen it happen. I've seen the power supply break free, and I've seen what it does. Now there is a little metal strap right here that's going to help keep that power supply in place. Regardless, it's still possible. There's a plastic tab. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't try pulling it up. It probably ripped my fingernails off. It's in there good. There are 4 plastic tabs that you have to get out from inside. Go ahead and lift that straight up, would you? There we go. And let me show everybody. It's sound insulated, and I think that's why they did that.
Ah, okay.
The PureBase 500 has both a magnetic screen you can place up here, and it has a magnetic flat cover, or you can leave them both off and leave it exposed, such as it is now. Now we're going to leave this exposed. We don't want to restrict the air coming out. We're going to put the fans down here, and they're going to blow air straight up. This is going to block that airflow. There are some vent holes here, so it will breathe, but that's not good. That's not enough for what we want. So we're going to leave this off, and we'll probably never use it. You know what? Before I mount this, let's put the fans on it. So since I know this is mounting this way, I want to put the fans on now. Remember, we want the fans with the brackets, the support brackets here, facing the back of the radiator. And we want the cables facing the back of the case. And everything's upside down. So when you're doing this, you got to think, okay, if this is going to go in this way, right? Got to visualize this in your head. Then
Here,
that means...
Let me hold it and you show them.
Yeah, so that's going to go in like that. Then this fan needs to go on like this with the cable going out that way, just like that. So when I turn it around, everything is backwards. So the cable's going to be towards me, and I want both cables from both fans to be as close together as possible. So that means, can I have the other fan, please?
Yeah.
That means I want this fan, see, if I put it on the exact same way, then the cable's too far away, in my opinion. If I put it on this way, the cables can be closer together. There's no right or wrong here. It's just a question of, is this going to look better, or is this going to look better? Remember, this is all going towards the back of the case. Nobody's really going to see it, except there's only one cutout back here for the cables to go through. That's unfortunate. There's only one cutout. Well, there's one here on the end. So because of that, because it's towards the middle, we will just have this cable come out like that. And then, in theory, these two cables can go out that one little wire hole, wire management hole, together. Keep our cabling nice and neat. Now, the material that a radiator is made of is very soft material. You must be very careful when you tighten these screws not to over tighten them. You will strip out the radiator threads. And in doing so, it will give you a very bad day. Now this clutch setting is only on 3, and you can hear that driver stop when that clutch setting is hit. You should tighten all screws by hand, unless you are a seasoned professional and well marinated. Take the board. Notice how I'm holding the board. I don't want to touch any of the components. And I'm going to gently place it down inside of the case. I'm kind of working. You're sort of standing where I need to be.
Oh,
That's
okay.
okay. That's okay. I'm just going to set it down first before I move. So I just laid it down in there, and then I'm going to move over here. Now, normally when you work on this, when you're doing this at home, you would have the case lay flat like this, and you'll be looking at it from the top down, not from where Mitch is. Mitch is showing how the I/O shield is about to line up. And so to do that, I'm just going to pick the board up by the edges. I'm going to lean it forward and tilt it so the back end of the board is facing up towards me. And then I'm going to start to gently lower it, and hopefully it will center itself over the... If you can stand up here, Mitch, and then look right behind. You see this part right here? You see this? Right here, there's a post, right? So there's three mounting holes, 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 across the top, 3 across the bottom. And this case already has the standoffs placed there. If I push this board this way towards the back of the case, it should automatically center over that post and secure the board if I do it correctly. And this could take a little bit of wiggling. There it goes.
There it went.
Now, in theory, these should all line up. You should see the standoff back behind here, back behind there, and there, and there. And there are a total of 9 mounting points. That's standard on an ATX motherboard. If we're not using a standard ATX motherboard, we may have to move some of these standoffs. Some motherboards, for example, micro ATX, would have another mounting point right here. If this case came with a standoff right there, we can't see it. It would short out against the back of the board and prevent us potentially from not only turning on, but it could cause permanent damage. Make sure when you're putting your motherboard in the case, count the number of holes your motherboard has and count the number of standoffs your case has. If the number's different, fix it. With that said, I can start securing the board. Now, you should not tighten these screws down as I am doing, because the board may need to be jostled a bit for everything to line up. One of the most difficult, let's make sure we didn't trap any wires up here. One of the most difficult screws to get at is this one. This is why I have such a long extension on my driver. To get down in there, and that one went right in, because that one often requires me to wiggle the board around. And if I go right along this edge, right where you're standing, Mitch, the next one is in the middle, right here at the edge. You guys see that? It's very difficult to film. It's already in. The next one is just below, at the very bottom of the board, again at the edge. There's no particular order you have to go in. I'm just making this up. We just got to fill them all. Right down the middle, same thing, top. The middle is the post. We don't use that one, so we'll go right to the bottom. They're all in a straight line. And then finally, there are just 2 screws left. We'll start at the top. That completes. I don't feel like it's really going in well. Okay. I can see the standoffs coming out with that one. That's okay though. And then that one we already did, and that just leaves one more. And wouldn't you know it, that bag is empty. They gave us exactly the right amount of screws for an ATX board. A micro ATX board may use fewer screws and require fewer standoffs. So pay attention to that. If it's standard, then it's just, there's nothing you need to modify. It just goes right in as you've witnessed. With that, we can pick the case back up and spin it around. Now the radiator can go in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I hope. Hold on, there's another part of it right there. Go ahead and pull that some more.
Okay.
Now go ahead and pull the slack. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. We're good. So go ahead and tilt that forward for me. Nice. A little heavier now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad I have you here because this would be very difficult to do by myself. Be a greater chance for some damage.
4 hands are better than 1,
Yeah.
said the octopus. Oh, no. That's 8.
And I'm going to lock it down there. And we get those opposite corners, right?
So it looks like it's going to fit.
Perfect.
Even above the RAM? And
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's not even covering the RAM at all, because that would be frustrating to pay for this RAM that's so pretty, and then to cover it up with like a big old Noctua heat sink or something, you know? What a waste of money that would be. Boy, there is just, I'm telling you,
Right.
EVGA's cables here are going to be just barely the right length. Now that's going to make cable management super easy, and that's just dumb luck. There is very little room.
Okay.
That's everything except the cooler, and we can test fire it once we get the cooler on. So I think it's glove time.
Oh, the glove. Of course, you know, Carey needs all the gloving he can get. Huh? No? That's good.
Why are you moving away from me, Mitch?
Yeah.
Look.
We won't go into
Look, you worried it's not clean?
Yeah.
Look,
Okay. Yeah.
it's clean. Want to smell it?
I'd rather not.
So here's our thermal compound that comes included with the Silverstone PF240. They give us a lot. That's a way more than we need. So that's good. That's the way it should be. And usually these just twist off or pull off. I hate to use the glove on that side. There it is. And now I'm going to put a dab here. Now, of course, in their video, on Silverstone's video, they show the traditional sort of dab and then you shove the heatsink on. I don't like doing it that way because I have to support my systems. Customers will call me with problems. So I like to assure there's 100% IHS coverage. The IHS is the internal heat spreader. That's this metal piece I'm painting with my finger. And I like to put a nice thick coat of paint on there. Shouldn't be too thin, shouldn't be too thick. But because many of these CPUs now are APUs, they don't just have chips in the center. They used to say as long as the middle was good, but now you really need to make sure. And people go, well, you're going to get air bubbles. Well, no, we're going to tap on this, and we're going to make it kind of,
Ridges.
yeah, little
Ruffles.
ridges. But you can see it's leaving little gaps, which suggests to me I did not put enough. There's quite a bit more coverage required on an AMD CPU. An Intel CPU is a bit smaller. So we'll just put a little bit more on there because I want to be able to tap on this and not see any silver behind it. And we are working, we're losing light here, so it's dark for us too, guys. But yes, you will use more because the surface area of an AMD CPU is larger than the surface area of the internal heat spreader of an Intel. But it's the same process regardless. When you put that little dab in the middle and you squish your heatsink down, how do you know if you've covered it entirely without taking it off and looking? And if you put too much on, it'll ooze out the sides. It makes a mess. It's very difficult to get off, which is why I wear the glove. And then I will just turn the glove inside out and throw it away and keep my hands clean. Now I should be able to lock this cooler down. Aha!
Do you feel like you're on the CPU?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Few turns, then the other. A few turns. Don't bump. Don't put one side all the way down.
That's right. We're gonna go back and forth.
Go back and forth. There you go. Couple turns. And then the next one. Couple turns. Don't wrench it down. You'll know. Oh.
What do you think? How's
Yeah.
that looking?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about ready to test fire. We got to hook up.
The pump.
We're not going to hook up the RGB on the pump or the fans, but I will plug the fans in, and I will plug the fan header on the pump goes to the CPU power connector. And we're going to, this is just RGB, so we're going to do this later.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like crap just hanging there. I got to figure out where I'm going to put that. I see, it's wrapped around. Let's take that out from there, and we'll leave that there. This can go. Can you see the fan header? It's way in the back underneath. Can you see it? It's white and it's right back here. Now that's where I'm going to need some forceps maybe. That sucks.
Okay.
Oh, can I do it without forceps? Come on, can I get in there?
I don't believe you can.
Believe,
You
Mitch.
just did. Okay.
Be a believer, my
Okay.
friend. Okay, now here's the next step. To hook up these fans, and this is something I learned last time as well. Silverstone did something pretty unique here. And it took me a minute to think about it before I understood. And that is, they included a fan splitter, which is this right here. You guys see that? Now the reason they included the fan splitter, if we look back here, this is all the RGB stuff. Okay, so I'll hook up the RGB stuff later. That is not my concern at this time. When I hook it up, those fans are going to be nice and pretty. What I want to do, just to keep myself sane, is I want to grab one of these little wire ties I pulled off earlier, and I want to just tie this up so it's just really getting in my way. And I will deal with this later. Okay, so just ignore this for now. This and this, just ignore all that.
Okay.
What we're left with are the two fan power connectors. What we want to do is plug them each into a section of the fan splitter. They only plug in one way. There's a little groove and a tongue, and it just goes tongue and groove, right? Then we're going to take this one final connector here, and we can plug it onto any fan header on the motherboard. Now, it doesn't have to be near the CPU. We can run it down. If we take a look at this board and take a look at where we have accessible fan headers, there is another one up here that we could use. It's going to be hard to get to. We've got to have some more. Ironically, the fans are blocking both fan headers that the fans need to plug into. You got to love that irony. So I think I'm going to go ahead, given my lack of choices here, and I'm going to plug in, let's find this here. I'm going to run it back in. This is again how you keep your cable management clean. You just kind of loop it and we just take what we need. So I'm going to run that back in. This is the CPU optional header that I'm trying to plug into. Keyword here is trying. This is a very unique challenge. do you think?
Yeah.
We need a graphics card.
Coming up.
Everybody wants to see this anyway. So what we've got is an RTX 2080. Can you hand me that razor, please?
There it is, folks.
Yeah, they have this NVIDIA kind of patented this, trademark this missing corner. It's not damaged, it's intentional. Here is the,
They just joined us. Boom.
this is what moves the power cables, this right here. There's a little catalog, I don't know. This is apparently all you get. Well, they certainly pack it well. That's really well insulated from damage. It's very cushiony. So we got a little piece of rubber there that comes off. We got some plastic that comes off.
What a beast. What a beast, man.
Yeah, it's all right. It'll do.
It's all right. It'll do.
We got a little plastic covering the PCI slot. We get rid of that. That's the card. There's no back plate on it, unfortunately. You'd think for $800 I could give me a back plate, but they don't, so try and avoid touching the back of it. Hold it by its edges. Sometimes there's plastic over the company name. You don't have to remove it, but it just gets ugly real quick.
And then you're going to need to figure out what 2 slots you got to remove.
Anywhere there's a company name or logo, there's usually plastic. Take it off now. It won't turn yellow in a year and look like your card is 25 years old. Okay, so the slots we have to remove are going to be 2 and 3, which is pretty typical. Can I see my electric? Oh, you already have it out. You've done this before.
Nurse Mitch to the rescue. And you're certainly not Dr. Feelgood.
Do you know Dr. Feelgood? Because there's some prescriptions I could really use if they'd write them. Okay, so we're going to make sure that's open, the retention lever. We'll flip this around so it does look like it's upside down, but if you're not familiar with computers, on a graphics card, this is right side up. This will lock into place once we line it up first. Now that it's lined up, I can push it down and you should hear it click as the mechanism locks it. Should hear it click. Why is it? That is the click. Well, here's what's interesting. Certainly the top M.2 slot does not in any way interfere with the graphics. I was thinking the graphics card was going to sit over it, but it doesn't at all. So we'd have been okay using it. I feel like it's this heatsink cover is preventing the card from seating. I've never seen that happen before. Now what? What do you do when your heatsink prevents your card from seating? I don't know. It won't seat. What's happening is this part of the card is hitting this part of the motherboard. Now clearly, Gigabyte knows people are going to be putting GPUs in. So let's lay the case flat. This may require a bit more strength than a normal system that I'm accustomed to building.
Yeah, you got to. I'm not sure you're in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. There it is.
There it is.
Okay, but it won't go all the way down. Watch. It like wants to, oh, come on. Push. Push.
But this isn't blocking it.
No. It's the bottom of the card hitting the top of the shroud around the chipset fan.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? I did see it move. It didn't. You couldn't hear it visibly lock because it's not closing with force. It's just barely closing.
Okay.
Now, the video card is in, and now we have this unique piece that you've never ever seen me use before.
Right.
And what this is going to do, we've got a big piece of glass here, right? And you're going to run your cables right into the front of the graphics card. And it's ugly. Can I see the razor again, please?
Yep.
So what this is going to do is it will allow us different PCIe configurations. So it works with numerous different power requirements from different NVIDIA graphics cards. I suppose it would work with Radeon graphics cards, theoretically. Same power connectors. And this will move those power connectors. This is an item EVGA sells separately, but on this RTX 2080, this specific model includes this piece, which looks like this. Now, you are able to open this up and adjust these connectors to whatever you need. This graphics card, for example, uses a 6-pin and a...
Look at that.
Right? And then that's going to
Yeah.
move those connectors back here.
Nice.
However, in doing so, it will block the ability to put that tray back in that was up here.
Okay.
But we can put 1, 2, 3 trays. Instead of going 1, 2, 3, we'd have to go from the bottom 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
This is going to block that tray. So keep that in mind. The case you pick is critical, depending on what stuff you want to put in there.
And so you're going to need two VGAs, not three. The thing came with three.
No, I'm only going to need one.
Oh.
However, you'll see in here there's a 6-pin plug. What we have to do is we have to open this up, and we have to take this 8-pin plug. Remember, we've got a 6-pin plug right here and an 8-pin. So the 6-pin one is closest to the edge. We've got to remove this, replace it with this one. It's just going to pop in there. And to do so, there's a little rubber cover. See this? See this? And there's one on the other side. And it's going to require a small Allen wrench that's in here. I've got right in this. Remember, this is just for looks, folks. This is only for looks. You don't have to do this. This is something I've never done before. I haven't seen any videos on how to do it, but it looks pretty obvious. There's a couple of extra small little screws in case you lose the ones that are in there. We're going to go down in here like this with the tool. I'm basically going right inside of this with the Allen wrench to remove these little teeny tiny. I'm going to have to get some really magnifying glasses to see this to get it back in. That is the little tiny screw right there.
Okay.
Okay, and then there's one that didn't come out on the other side. I want to be careful. I don't want to hold this over the floor. And now this is what I've just removed. And now I'm going to take the 6-pin one, face it in the right orientation so the clips are facing the same side, and the whole bracket moves. So not only does it hold these in position, it allows you to adjust them up and down. So that's what it's going to look like when it's done, and then these little plastic covers go on. I don't feel so anal retentive now that I see somebody engineered this stupid thing. And that covers it. Now I should be able to take this, line it up on the graphics card, push it on, and it should click. It does. Now we can take one of those VGA power cables. Not this one though. See, this one only has one VGA power cable. Some of these other VGA power cables should have two. Or did they? Or is this power supply unique and then? It should have 3 total.
Yeah, 3 total.
There's 3 total on this one? I only see 2.
Oh.
I'm saying there should be 3 little
yeah.
connectors on the end on some of these. Oh, wait, no, I got one. I got one. By the way, If I didn't use this piece, the one cable would fit on both. If I do use this piece, I have to use 2 cables with this power supply. Part selection, part selection, part selection. We'll differentiate an easy build from a difficult build, as well as a cheap build from an expensive build. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to see if the smoke is going to come out. Okay, Mitch, you want to hit that white button up there?
You want to go to the other camera?
Oh, okay. Hit that white button.
Oh, the white button?
Yeah. Just tap it and let it go. Ooh, what is that noise? Oh, that's the fans on the liquid cooler. Those are awfully loud. Okay, it's just momentary. Deal with that. It's calming down. Chipset fans running. Video card fans are running. Any post would be nice. Ooh, got loud again. Come on, baby. Ooh, I can feel the air blowing against my face. Give it time. I'm not talking to you, Jimmy.
I knew I didn't put that NVMe in right. Although
No, just give it a minute.
yeah.
It's cycling. It's counting the RAM. It's checking the CPU. That RAM is pretty. Come on, baby. Show me some life. Boy, those fans. Not happy.
Yeah. I'll have you shut it down and recheck the NVMe.
We're not getting anything out of this. No. Ryzen takes 5 power-ups. All right, well, I think that was 3.
3.
Ooh, I just heard it shut off.
There you go.
Patience, huh? Sounds better. It's kind of yelling at me like a banshee. It wants me to insert proper media, so let's put Windows 10 in there. Use a blue USB port. Shut her off. It's probably a new BIOS update I should put in first.
You think?
I'm so impatient.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
No.
I really want to focus in on this RAM so people can see it. It is pretty RAM. And you can hear when it's happy, like it calms down and it gets nice and quiet. And it should automatically boot to that Windows 10 USB stick right now. And I'm not going to touch the BIOS, I'm not going to adjust it. We'll just keep it factory fresh, see what it does.
Ooh.
You know what? When I get Windows 10 installed, I would like to see the speed on that M.2 PCIe 4 drive.
I don't have a product key. Windows 10 Pro. Next.
Have you done this before?
No, I've seen every single one of your videos, unfortunately.
What's wrong with
you? Next. Now, custom. It recognizes it.
Yeah.
So I must have put it in right.
You did.
Yeah. And there you go. And this will, look how quick that's going. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Oh, they're getting everything ready. Everything, including the FBI, are going to be on their way.
Yeah.
All right. I would normally immediately do the updates for Windows 10, but you know what? We are running late.
Way.
Half an hour late.
So, folks,
so all I'm going to do, once Windows 10 installs, I'm going to put Crystal Disk Mark on, and we're going to run some benchmarks on that solid-state drive. Not to suggest they might improve with a BIOS update and some driver installs from Windows Update. However, I need to wrap it up today.
Yeah.
I'm out of time. Boy, that feels fast.
Yeah. What sort of numbers you think you're going to get?
5,000? Well, for 5,000 right here.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, on the Samsung 970 Pro Plus, we're looking at 3,600. We should see, yeah, there it is, 5,000. So this is the difference between PCI Express Generation 4, which is only available on the X570 AMD motherboards currently, but it will become the new normal in the future. AMD was just first. Also, the capacity of PCI Express version 4 should lead to 8,000 megabytes per second. So this early generation is much slower, but this is the price you're going to pay for an early adopter, is paying more to get less. There's our final numbers on Crystal Disk Mark. There's your read and writes. That's the Corsair MP600, which this is the box of what we're using with the big old heat sink on it. That's in that lower slot, so you can see we didn't lose anything by moving it down. And that means if we add another SSD, we can get one without the heat sink and slap it right in the top slot. Super easy to access. It's right there. And once all the cable management, the fans put back on, the covers put back on, all the RGBs hooked up, this is going to be a very nice looking system. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And bye for now.